Well, that was a pretty hard act to follow. I have to say, I'm probably the newest trustee among you because I just joined the Vermont Nature Conservancy Board of Trustees last January. Anyone here newer than that? So maybe this is a tradition. It's like hazing. Do you think it's like hazing where, you know, they say, okay, well, if you want to be a trustee, you better get on the stage. I came to the Nature Conservancy after a really long career in public service in Vermont. And I was elected 6 times Vermont Secretary of State, and then served for 6 years as the Secretary of the Agency of Natural Resources, which had the great portfolio of not just doing the EPA programs, you know, the bad news, you have to have a permit programs, but also all of the natural resources, fish and wildlife and forests and parks and recreation. And there I became passionate about conservation and got to know the Nature Conservancy and our great chapter in Vermont. And I am really proud to say that we probably have the most trustees per capita here at this conference today. So we've got almost our whole board. So congratulations, Vermont. We're a little state, but we have loud voice, right? You know, Bernie Sanders, right, like that. And I was asked to come and talk to you a little bit about, again, this theme of stories, but really about how all of you really have a lot of power. You have power to make change if you choose to take it. And it really is through our personal stories that we can make change. And I remember back, not to give away my age, but in the early 80s, I was in college, and there was new social science on persuasion. And there was a study. Any of you ever have a Volvo way back when? It was known as the most reliable car, the safest car for your family. And so it was a study done of people who were looking for the safe, reliable family car. And they gave them lots of data about all the different cars, Consumer Reports, the whole thing. And then they showed them a video of a person talking about the lemon they got from Volvo. And they did a controlled study and found that without that story, people would have bought the Volvo. The folks who were in the market for that kind of car, you know, a safe, reliable, you know, car, they would have bought the Volvo. But none of the people who heard the single story of the lemon bought the car, even though the data showed that that was a unique, unusual experience. And we don't really use the word lemon anymore so much because there's warranties, right? So if you get a bad car, you bring it back. But in those days, you sometimes got stuck. And that was interesting, and that was the power of stories, right? One person's story can erase all of the data that you've heard. And does this sound a little familiar? Thinking about like climate change, right? And you know, you fast forward to today, and you think about what we know about how we persuade people about climate change. And in fact, we don't use facts. That's not the way you convince somebody that we've got a serious problem with global climate disruption and climate change from greenhouse gases that are in large part human caused. And there's a study done there's actually a school in Yale. Anyone from Yale here? Alum? Yeah, I figured there would be. You should be very proud. But there's the Yale Yale Program Institute of Climate Communication, and they do regular studies of Americans and look at how do Americans think about climate change, how do we talk about it, and what's effective in talking about climate change. And one of the things that they've found is that it really isn't about facts. It's about identity. How do we see ourselves? And how we see ourselves are very often impacted by the stories we tell, what our experience is in the world. And so the advice coming out of this Yale study is that you don't change minds with facts, you change minds with stories and with experiences. So circling back to what I was asked to talk to you about today, which is really this power that all of you have. And tomorrow, I know I spoke to a few of you earlier today, and you said, I've met my legislator at like a fundraiser here or there, but what am I really going to say? I don't have, I don't feel like I'm an expert. I need to know the studies and what are those bill numbers that I want to lobby? And it's not going to be about that. It's not going to be about data or numbers. It's really about what is your story? What makes each of you so passionate about the protection of nature that you would come to this meeting, that you would donate your money and your precious, precious free time to this cause? Think about what is your story. And when I think about like what's my story, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to talk about it when I come here? And last week I was in Vermont, and yesterday was my husband and my 29th wedding anniversary. And I don't know how many of you have been married for decades like I have, probably a bunch of you. And it's not really always sunshine and roses, right? Sometimes, especially we have 3 kids, it was not always easy. And what we found in our relationship is when things weren't going well, we would go into the forest. Now, we happen to live in Vermont, so it was pretty easy to do, but that was the thing that we did. We would take a hike, and over the course of the hike, we would get to know each other again. We would rekindle the flame, and it was a lot cheaper than marriage counseling, and it really worked. So knowing that I was going to miss our wedding anniversary because it was yesterday, and I was on my way here already, and we took a hike up one of our mountains in our area, Hunger Mountain. And as we're walking up, for the first time I noticed this, and it wasn't a little sign, Tom, it was a big sign, a big wooden sign that said, Putnam State Forest, the Nature Conservancy. Who knew? My marriage was saved by the Nature Conservancy. So that's, I'm not going to tell Paul that you clapped at that. I suggested I was going to say that to him. He said, Deb, our marriage was, anyway. So that's just one little story about the importance of nature. And you probably can all relate, right? That getting out in nature changes things, right? It calms you down. It lets you relax. It lets you enjoy the people you're with in a different way. And there are other stories too, that are meaningful. And in Vermont, another Nature Conservancy story, which I talk about a lot as a professional, is relates to. You all remember Hurricane Sandy, right? And do any of you remember Tropical Storm Irene? Like we had, how there's, you've got the really super, flashy storm that impacts millions of people. But then Irene in Vermont was significant. It was the year before Sandy. It impacted, we have 150 towns in Vermont. It destroyed infrastructure, public infrastructure, roads, bridges, buildings, town centers, businesses in 125 of our towns, right? It wiped out every road going east-west in this state. It was a storm, it was a climate storm, right? We're going to see more of these with climate change. That came, it sat, it dumped in some places 7 and 8 inches of rain in a matter of hours. And because of our topography, the steep slopes, it was an erosive flood. It just took sides of mountains down and eroded, took away farmland, the rivers all rearranged. It was really significant. And there's a story in Irene that really is so important that when I served on President Obama's White House Task Force on Climate Preparedness and Resilience, it was a story I talked about a lot. And as a result, we had some recommendations that were put into that report to the president that has changed how FEMA, and we're hoping it still has changed how FEMA is looking at at some of its flood standards. But what happened in this particular case that I talk about is that we have a river in Vermont. The rivers are flowing north that had it was so full of water coming through Rutland and then Brandon that it actually wiped out the whole downtown area of Brandon. There was no more roads. There were some buildings, but it totally took out the road. The river was so full and strong, and as it's going north, it's heading towards the town of Middlebury. I don't know if you've ever been to Middlebury, but it's a sweet little town. Middlebury College is there. There's a river with an old dam there and a bridge over it, and there was no reason to think it wouldn't equally take out Middlebury, causing tens of millions of dollars of damage. And instead, between Brandon and Middlebury, there had been a conservation project, conservation of a number of bogs and wetland complexes. And what happened is the water came rushing in and then dissipated in the bogs and in the wetland that was conserved with Nature Conservancy support and dollars. And then when it got to Middlebury, although it was floodwaters, it didn't create any damage, saving, I think it was the estimate was $17 million from that one storm, one conservation project. I mean, that's an important story about the power of nature to protect our communities. Thinking about how do we look for those co-benefits, these projects, because that bog system was also an incredibly important conservation project for the flyway. Right, we have a lot of different kinds of geese and birds that come down that particular flyway. That conserved land is vitally important for them. It's vitally important for water quality, since the water then flows into Lake Champlain and it helps sift out the nutrients and so forth. So there's lots of reasons why that's so important. But the story that's compelling is it also saved the town of Middlebury from destruction in that storm. The power of nature to destroy, the power of nature to protect. I would bet that each of you have seen a story like this as well. You have the story, the personal story about what makes you passionate, but also the story of where a Nature Conservancy project has really made a difference for a community, maybe for your community. So what's your story? That's my question. I'm here to leave you with the charge, because tomorrow you're going to go and talk to your representatives and think about, what is your story? What has made you so passionate about the work that the Nature Conservancy does and the work that you do with the Nature Conservancy? So I guess I want to leave with this one thought, is that that we really only protect the things that we love. And we only love the things that we know. And so one of the issues that I care a lot about is we need to get people outside so that they get to know nature, so they can love nature. Tomorrow, you may or may not be talking to people who have a lot of experience in nature. And it's through your stories that they can get to know and love the power of nature and the protection of nature. So I ask you all to head out tomorrow with that in mind. Think about what's your story, get out there, do a great job, I'm sure you will, and I look forward to meeting you all, and I'm really proud to be part of that Vermont delegation. So thank you.